What's going on, y'all, man? I want to give a live reaction to the game. Georgia Tech falls to Virginia Tech 21-6. Tweeted a lot. Appreciate y'all liking all this stuff, man. It means a lot. But when I look at this game, I think the defense played exceptional, right? They get my game ball. Now, say what you want. They scored 21 points, but this defense clamped down. After they scored and went up 21-6, they didn't allow them to score the rest of the game. Defense shut it down. My game balls go to Romello Height. Now, I don't know these stats. For some reason, there's no stats in this game. Like, you go on Stats Broadcast, you go on ESPN for defense. So, I don't know who really dominated, but I know Romello Height dominated. He had to have at least close to 3 sacks in this game. Had a forced fumble. He was all over the field. Credit this defense. They got after it. Probably one of their best performances that we've seen all year defensively, in my humble opinion. Now, did they win on some things, Virginia Tech? Yes, give them credit where credit is due. Kyron Drones dominated this game in certain regards, in certain spots of this game, right? Had a passing touchdown, right, to Benji Gosnell, right? It's kind of a weak point for Georgia Tech is kind of that tight end position. You can kind of exploit them a little bit. If you run a little shallow cross or a little bit of an over route, you can kind of exploit it. We've seen that in this game a little bit in them struggle, right? But credit. And also, I didn't mention he had a rushing touchdown as well and a receiving touchdown. A little bit of razzle-dazzle right there before the half, and they ended up scoring. But credit that defense, man. They forced turnovers. They got sacks. They got negative plays. They made Drones feel uncomfortable. They pushed him out of the pocket. You can't ask for a better defensive performance, I thought, in my humble opinion, on the road without your star quarterback. Because whatever y'all say, Haynes King is a star quarterback in the ACC, in the league. He just doesn't get the credit that he deserves. But we're seeing it, right? And I'm going to talk about the offense here in just a second. But we saw this defense countlessly get the ball back to the offense. They could not do nothing with it. And then after that pick by Zach Power, they pulled them. They yanked them. And here's why. And here's a little bit about Georgia Tech going forward. And why fans, even though they're 5-4, still got to get a win to get bowl eligible, why they should be excited. All right, so like I said, after they threw the pick, right, and they pretty much disguised it well, right? Like you had the corner going out to the route for the flat, seeing it, adjusted through the pick. And they couldn't get nothing going offensively. Now, Jamal Haynes didn't have his best game, but again, he's dealing with a shoulder injury, right? 18 carries, 48 yards, 2.7. That's not going to get it done. Anthony Carey had a decent game, right? 4.6 yards per rush, only 7 carries, right? But that's the key. Like, they could not, and Virginia Tech knew that going into this game. Like, they could not give up those big plays in the running game. And Haynes had a couple plays that he tried his best. Like, nothing was there, and he was making a play. So credit to him playing through injury and playing hurt and still trying to make his presence felt. But the reason y'all should be excited is because of Aaron Philo. Now, I know, 11 for 26, 185. Naj, what the hell are you talking about? Trust me. Go back and look at the end of the third quarter when he made that big throw. Double coverage, but out through both defenders and an absolute dot to this guy right here, Eric Singleton Jr., who finished with 5 catches for 91 yards. Okay? So, he missed some throws now. He missed Rutherford on a couple throws, Chase Lane on a couple throws behind them. That takes time. You know what I'm saying? He's a true freshman. You're not going to make every throw as a true freshman. You're going to make mistakes, okay? But he gave them way better chance to win this game, I humbly thought, than Pyron did. And this is why I said this is not a knock on Pyron, and I'm not saying he's not a competent quarterback, but you're not going to win necessarily with him. When I say that, when you play a team like this that can put up a lot of points, that's dangerous running the football, that has Kyron Drones, and he can beat you with your legs in his arm, you need guys that aren't afraid to throw the ball down the field. Now, no disrespect to Pyron right here, but it was a couple. Like, I watched the majority of the game. There was some he was rolling out, and I mean Jamal Haynes is flanking wide open. He holds the ball, and then makes the throw to the tight end. Now I get it, you got the catch, that's fine. But it was a couple plays. Eric Singleton Jr. earlier in the game, wide open, right? He beats the first defender. The safety is trying to catch up, right? You got to throw that ball. So it seems to me like when it's a throw downfield, he's hesitating too much. He's not trusting his eyes and what he sees, and he's holding it too long. I thought for the most part, I was counting 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. They gave him time to throw, right? And you got to think about this, y'all. Antoine Powell-Ryland, he didn't have like a game-wrecking game, right? He didn't have 4 and 5 sacks. Like, they did a pretty good job against him. Maybe he did have a sack in that one. I was driving on the way here to this Hall of Fame event I'm at. But for the most part, they kept him pretty much in check. So you can't really ask for too much more offensive line-wise. Could they open up more lanes? Of course, in the running game, yes. But they're going to tee off on that because they know that's what you want to do. But the fact that Philo came in, made the offense, I thought, a little bit better than what it was, and they threw their shots. And this is going to reflect on I like Faulkner as a coordinator, but they got to take more shots down the field. You cannot play conservative and play it safe to beat the team. You just can't do it. You know what I'm saying? I know Philo is not Haynes King. I understand. But you got to be willing to take those throws down the field. You got to keep the defense honest at least. You know what I'm saying? So that they don't have two safeties and they're not dropping everybody 8 to 9 in the box. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my only critique offensive-wise. Just play calling. Throw those plays down the field. You have the weapons. You got Singleton. You got Malik Rutherford, who had a decent game. He had some drops in this one. He should rebound from it. But you got to trust your quarterbacks to make the throws. And that's why I said I made the tweet. Going forward, Philo should be QB2. Respectfully, I think he gives you a better chance, and he's going to continue to get better and better. Hey, guys, there is a reason why Philo is the record-setting leader in the GHSA in passing yards. He passed Trevor Lawrence. Guess where Lawrence is, y'all? He's in the NFL. I rest my case. Now, let's go back to Virginia Tech one more time, and I want y'all to see this. Now, look, and this is what I'm saying. I know everybody going like, oh, they put up 21 points. This GT defense balled. 128 yards passing. He had one of his worst games, 16 for 28, right? They held him in check for the most part. Besides that long run that was about 40, 50 yards. Again, there is no stats on this game, so forgive me. He only had 84 yards rushing, 4.7 per carry, right? I know they're like, oh, that's 5. Besides that big run, y'all, they shut it down. Georgia Tech defensive line dominated this game. I don't care what anybody says. They dominated, and they showed what they could do, man. Under Tyler Santucci, this is an improved defense. They're going to keep you in games, and they kept them for as long as they could. Look at it right here, y'all. 7 points in the third quarter. They couldn't put up no more points, man. So at that point, your offense has to play better, man. It does. The special teams was a lot better. I want to give them a shout-out as well for Georgia Tech. I thought they played exceptionally well. Had a field goal blocked by Zeke Biggers, right? Had a couple decent returns. You know, a near disaster play by Rodney Shelley. But for the most part, played well. So when you look at it all in its totality, they did what they could. I thought the complementary pieces for Georgia Tech stepped up. The defense, for the most part, stepped up. The special team stepped up. The offense just couldn't get it going, honestly. And we got to say this, y'all. This team put up 42 points on Boston College. 42. 42. And Tutton had 3 tutties and over 200 yards. You know what I'm saying? So we got to give Santucci a game ball, man. I mean, you can't have a better game plan and execute at that level. I thought for the most part they stepped up as far as wrapping up and tackling. Taj Butler had a pretty decent game, the freshman linebacker. The corners were playing well, plastering coverage. Like I said, the only feat where it was and they had a good game was Benji Gosno. He only had 5 catches, 49 yards. That's a win. You'll take that. That is a win. So if this defense playing like this, they definitely got a shot. And I'm going to tell y'all, don't be surprised. They got to get Haynes King back. But don't be surprised if Georgia Tech could potentially win out and go 8-4. Y'all can call me crazy because it's Georgia coming up. I know. Miami coming up. I know. But do not be surprised. If that defense is playing like that and they get back to the offense they had with King, look out. But yeah, man, this really was the game of the true freshmen. And I like it because a lot of them go get red shirts. But they stepped up big. Anthony carried 7 carries, 32 yards, right? Showed up, you know what I'm saying? Averaged the most yards per carry on the team. Isaiah Kenyon, only 2 catches, 29 yards, but came up with some big catches in the game, right? They're really high on him going forward. You feel good about him. Aaron Philo, I know he had to pick, but that hit every boy right in the hands. The receivers and pass catchers got to be better when the ball hits them in the hands, right? But for the most part, Philo had a pretty good game. Was a little inaccurate, as I said, but that's what he gives you. He gives you that potential, right? He gives you that high ceiling, low floor. Okay, so true freshman in this one. Also, Taj Butler's another one. True freshman stepping up for Kyle Eifert. Look, Tech fans, it's tough to win on the road when you got a banged-up running back. Your star running back's banged up. No Haynes King, right? And Kyle Eifert's not playing either, okay? We got to take that into totality, right? A lot of people are going to be like, oh, Tech, are they right back to what it was? No, they're not. This is a very competitive team. They kept this within 2 scores the entire game without having some of their best pieces, best complementary players. All right, the future is very bright for Georgia Tech. I like to look at a glass half full approach. Okay, are there critiques? Are there things that got to get better? Yes, but you got the potential to be a great team. They got to finish this 2025 recruiting class strong. Gonna have to probably try to flip some guys and keep your guys away from other, shark-infested waters like Georgia, Florida State, and others. But you land and you get this top 20 2025 class coming in, and you continue to have these true freshmen continue to build and develop. And if you potentially get Haynes King back for another year, along with Eric Singleton Jr. and Malik Rutherford, going forward, you feel pretty good. So that's my reaction Y'all let me know. GT loses to Virginia Tech.